So I've had my Sony A7 IV for the past 3 years. This camera was released in December 2021 and I bought it about 6 months after it was released. And this has been my main workhorse ever since. And I've used it for pretty much everything from talking head YouTube videos to live streaming, to client work, to street photography, professional photography, filmmaking, cinematic videos. Pretty much anything you can think of, I have used this camera for. And I wanted to make a video 3 years later to talk about what I think about this camera and would I still recommend it to somebody today. So if you're watching this video, you probably already know about the Sony A7 IV and you probably already know the specs of it. It's been out for long enough, but I'll just quickly summarize the specs of this camera. It has a full frame 33 megapixel backside illuminated CMOS sensor and it's capable of shooting photos at up to 10 frames per second with mechanical shutter. Now it can also shoot video in 4K up to 60 frames per second in 422 10-bit color. Now the 60 frames per second does come at an APS-C crop, a 1.5 times crop, so that's unavoidable. And it also has a fully articulated flippy screen and it has dual SD card slots, one of which is a CF Express Type A slot. So you can get your redundant recording if you want that. Now it does also have a USB-C port and a full-sized HDMI cable, which is really good for if you want a variety of things to connect to it and transfer your files that way. So you get a load of ports in there, which is really, really nice. Now it also has a really, really good viewfinder because this is a professional hybrid camera. Now, who is this camera aimed at? This is aimed at somebody that pretty much, like myself, is a hybrid shooter, somebody that uses their camera for both photos and videos, someone that wants to make cinematic videos, but also does street photography or professional weddings and things like that. That is who this camera is aimed at. But this camera is now 3 years old, and what do I think about it? Well, to start with, this camera is an absolute workhorse. It can do pretty much anything you throw at it. But for me, it's a bit too big. The only thing I haven't used this camera for is vlogging because for me, it's just too big and chunky to take out vlogging. If I'm going to do that, I've got my DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which I'm recording on right now, or I've got my iPhone 16 Pro, which I will use to vlog if I need to. So I won't take this out to vlog with, I would take it out to do street photography with or videos or anything like that. Now, for me, this camera is slightly too big. I would like something a bit more compact, but this is just personal preference for me, personal choice for me. I would like something a bit more compact. I think it's got a good grip on it, which is good, and it's a good size. Obviously, it's meant to be. It's a professional camera. And the viewfinder, I'm not that bothered about it. I know some people that if a camera doesn't have a viewfinder, it's a complete deal breaker for them. Whereas for me, I'm not that bothered about the viewfinder, especially with the flippy articulated screen. I find that I don't really use the viewfinder that much. I'm mainly using the flip screen on the camera to take photos and videos. Now, one issue I've had with this camera is overheating. Now, let me just tell you exactly the conditions that I film in so that you can get a gist of what I'm talking about. So this is recording in my studio for most of my talking head YouTube videos. I have the battery door open and I have a dummy battery plugged in so it has constant power delivery. I have the articulated screen fully open so I can see myself on the display. And I have the internal settings set, whichever one it is you change. I change the one so it's up to high. So the overheating issue, it should be set to high. Then I record on that, on the SD card, and then transfer that to my PC. Now those are the conditions I record in. Now I'm in the UK, we don't get really hot weather here that often, and my studio is generally between sort of 18 to 20 degrees. That's for reference. Now if I'm recording with this, I will get about 20 to 25 minutes of runtime before it overheats and turns itself off. Now I've tried doing a number of things and it always happens, it always just turns itself off. Now it might just be my unit. If you've got something similar, then let me know in the comments, but mine always overheats after about 20 minutes. I have to let it cool down for about 10 minutes, go make a cup of coffee or whatever, and then come back and then I can start recording again. But it does overheat if you're recording for more than 20 minutes in 4K, 30 frames per second. I don't know why, but it does. Now photos on this are absolutely phenomenal. The quality is brilliant. I'll throw some photos up for you to see now that I've taken on this. And 33 megapixels I think is the perfect balance. Anything really above sort of 26 megapixels is overkill. Not necessarily overkill, but it's more than enough for what you need. Now, you gives you some room for cropping in. It gives you some room to edit and capture all the detail that you need. And I just think it's absolutely brilliant. And the file sizes are not too big either. So the photo quality in this is great. Now, with regards to video, the ISO on this is pretty decent and the low light performance is pretty good. Is it as good as the Sony FX3? No, but it is still really, really good in low light. And I enjoy filming with this in low light. Now, also for video, I know I don't need to say it, but this thing is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to video, and it's still used by a lot of YouTubers today, purely because of the fact that it has a 7K sensor that downsamples to 4K. So something like the Sony FX3, which is the benchmark for videos in today's world, that records at 4K, whereas the A7 IV records in 7K and then condenses that down to 4K to give you an even sharper 4K image. Now that works up to 30 frames per second, and then as soon as you go to 60 frames per second, it crops in 1.5 times, so you just get normal 4K. Now, the color science is amazing. It has 15 plus stops of dynamic range, and it's just brilliant with video. I don't need to go on about how good this camera is with video because that's mainly what I use it for, and it is just so good. If you want to have a look at any of my videos on my channel, they're pretty much all recorded with the A7 IV, so check any of them out and you'll just see how good this video quality is. Now, obviously, it depends what lens you pair it with, because if you have an absolute garbage lens, then you are not going to get great video quality, whereas if you have good lighting, good white balance, and then a good lens as well, then the image quality is going to look a lot better. So it all depends on the user, but generally this camera is very, very good at video. Now, I have live streamed with this as well when I was playing games on my gaming channel, and the way I would live stream was I would plug a HDMI cable into the camera and then plug that into an Elgato Camlink 4K, which you can get for about $100 off Amazon if you look for it, and that just enables you to retain that 4K signal when it plugs into your PC, because otherwise if you try and do it via the USB port, as far as I'm aware, you can only do that in 1080p. So if you, by using a 4K Camlink, you can retain the 4K video quality. And with that, I can live stream for about 40 minutes. I don't know why it's longer live streaming than it is recording talking head videos, but it is. You can get about 40 minutes before the camera overheats and turns itself off. So that's just something to be aware of if you wanted to use it for live streaming. So would I recommend this camera to somebody today? Well, really, the question you have to ask yourself is what you want it for. If you want a camera that just makes YouTube videos, that is just your talking head camera for YouTube videos, then straight off the bat, I would just recommend the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and I would get the Creator Combo, because that is substantially cheaper than a camera. It comes with a microphone, so you've got that already. You haven't got to buy a separate microphone, and the microphone quality is amazing. The video quality on that is amazing. So straight off the bat, if you're just doing YouTube videos or vlogging or something like that, and that's all you're doing, then I would recommend the Osmo Pocket 3. If, however, you do want to upgrade to a good camera, then it depends on what you want. If you want a perfect hybrid for professional work, where you have the dual SD card slots, you have the viewfinder, then yes, I would recommend the A7 IV, because it is a brilliant camera. It records incredibly good quality videos. The photos are phenomenal, and it is a great hybrid camera. However, if you're not too bothered about the viewfinder or the dual SD card slots, then instead I would get the A7C II, which is a camera that I'm going to be getting in the next month or so, because it's basically an A7 IV, just smaller, in a more compact body. It has better heat management, so it should record for longer without overheating. And it has the latest AI chip in it, so it'll have the latest autofocus settings and all of that amazing jazz that these latest cameras come with. And it pretty much retains all of the same features that the A7 IV has, just with better heat management, better autofocus, better tracking, and just a better system, really. So if you don't want the dual SD card slots, then I would get the A7C II. But then if you want something just for photos, then I would get either the A7CR or the A7R5, which will set you back about $2,500 to $3,000. So if you're just doing photos and you're not really bothered about video, then the A7R5 or A7CR. And if you're just doing video, then I would get the Osmo Pocket 3. But if you want to do professional video, then maybe something like the Sony FX3. But the A7 IV is still a great option, and the A7 V should be coming out soon, but we haven't heard anything about it yet, just rumours, and I've created a video on my wish list, which I'll leave up here for you to watch. But there's some things I want to see in the A7 V when it comes out, and I'll just let you know what that is quickly if you haven't already heard. So I would like to see Sony's brand new flip multi-axis screen. It's pretty good as it is, this one, but on the new one, like the A7R5, they've got a newer screen, so I would rather have that. I would like dual CF Express Type A slots rather than just having one of them being a CF Express Type A. I would also like 4K 120, maybe 4K 60 with the oversampled 7K like this has, and then the 4K 120 with maybe a small crop. I would be happy with that. Really, and photos, I'd say keep the same sensor, maybe upgrade it slightly to like 38 megapixels. And the only reason I say that is because if you then shoot in APS-C mode, then you will have a 17 megapixel still image to work from, which is still more than enough to use for professional work. But it would still be good in low light. So it's not too big of a sensor that it would be bad in low light, and the file sizes would still be manageable. So that would really be my ultimate wish list for the A7 V. But really, this camera is still good. It's a bit dated now, and the one thing that frustrates me about Sony is they do not give the same firmware updates that they give to their newer cameras, so I wish they would do that. But Sony cameras are phenomenal. Their autofocus is unbeatable, really, in my opinion, and this camera is still brilliant. So if you want to get one, see if you can pick one up now, or wait till the A7 V is released, then you'll probably get this a little bit cheaper. But alternatively, get the A7C II, which I'll be getting soon, and then I'll tell you all about it. But let me know in the comments below what camera you're getting and why you're getting it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel because it really helps me out. But thank you very much. And if you want to see my full wish list for the A7 V, then check out the video up in the corner next. Thanks for watching.